Donald Trump's chances of clinching the 2024 presidential election have skyrocketed to an impressive 61, and this substantial increase has set the political world abuzz with speculation and analysis. As we approach the election, it's essential to dissect the factors that have propelled Trump into this favorable position while examining the struggles of Kamala Harris, whose campaign seems to be faltering just weeks before the election. Remarkably, only 3 weeks ago, Harris was viewed as the frontrunner, but a series of pivotal events have shifted the dynamics of the race, with Trump now firmly in control. Today, we'll delve into the details of the 11 most competitive battleground states that will ultimately determine the outcome of this election. Let's begin our analysis with Nevada, a state that is emblematic of the tight race we're witnessing. Both candidates currently find themselves locked in a dead heat, each with a 50 chance of winning. This state has often been a barometer for national trends, and its significance cannot be overstated. For the majority of the past 2 months, Kamala Harris had maintained a lead in Nevada. However, Trump has officially closed the gap, and the latest polling averages show him slightly ahead by 0.5. This shift is underscored by a Wall Street Journal poll, a publication typically perceived as leaning left, that has Trump leading Harris by a striking 6 points. Such a shift in voter sentiment is crucial, especially considering how well Harris had performed until recently. Historically, Nevada has posed challenges for Republican candidates, with no GOP nominee managing to win here since George W. Bush's victory in 2004. Yet, Trump's current trajectory suggests he could potentially flip Nevada for the first time in 2 decades. The importance of winning Nevada cannot be overstated. It would serve as a significant boost for Trump, reinforcing his status as a formidable contender in the race for the presidency. As we evaluate the odds and the dynamics at play, we can reasonably classify Nevada as leaning red on our electoral map. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Next, we turn our attention to Arizona, where Trump is the clear favorite, boasting an impressive 68% chance of victory. This is particularly noteworthy considering that Trump did not secure Arizona in the last election. Biden successfully flipped the state in 2020 by a razor-thin margin of just 0.31. However, the current electoral climate is markedly different, and Trump's odds reflect his resilience. Despite some initial hopes from the Democrats that they could reshape the electoral landscape with a new candidate, Kamala Harris's performance has been lackluster, especially in comparison to Biden's results from the previous election cycle. Recent polling in Arizona indicates Trump has extended his lead to 1.1, with some surveys even suggesting he has a 5-point advantage. This trend is significant because Trump has historically performed well in Arizona, and barring any major unforeseen developments, it appears he is on track to reclaim the state in 2024. Winning Arizona would be a vital achievement for Trump, further cementing his position as a top contender in the presidential race. Moving on to Texas, where Trump enjoys a staggering 91% chance of victory, it's clear he is set to win the state for a 3rd consecutive election. The landscape in Texas has shifted, but Trump's dominance in the presidential race is irrelevant. While there's a competitive Senate race featuring Ted Cruz, who has faced his own share of controversies, Trump's position remains solid. In the last election, polls had Trump winning Texas by a narrow margin of 1, but he ultimately secured the state by nearly 6 points. Presently, Trump leads by almost 6 points in the polls, indicating he might win Texas by a near double-digit margin this time around. Although Harris may attempt to inject some competitiveness into Texas, the reality is that she stands little chance in a state that has consistently leaned Republican. Now, let's shift our focus to the Midwest, where Harris must win 4 pivotal states: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Losing even one of these states would place her campaign in a precarious. Starting with Minnesota, Harris made a questionable strategic decision by selecting Tim Walz as her running mate. while Walz may provide some support in securing Minnesota, a state no Democrat has lost since 1972. Harris is currently facing significant challenges. Her lead in Minnesota has diminished to just 91, down from Biden's comfortable 7-point victory in 2020. Although Walz might help secure his home state, he fails to provide the necessary support in neighboring states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, where Harris needs to gain traction to remain competitive. When we analyze Wisconsin, expectations for Harris to win have diminished dramatically. Initially, she had a 60 chance of victory, but that figure has now plummeted to just 47. In a notable shift, Trump recently took the lead for the first time in over 2 months, marking a critical juncture in the campaign. Although the latest polling average indicates Harris is still technically leading, that lead is fragile at best. Moreover, polling in Wisconsin has historically been unreliable, often overestimating Democratic support. For instance, in 2016, Hillary Clinton was projected to win Wisconsin by a margin of 6 points, but ultimately lost the state entirely. Similarly, in 2020, Biden was expected to win by a comparable margin, but secured only a narrow victory of 0.6. Given these historical patterns, it is reasonable to anticipate that Trump may soon take a commanding lead in Wisconsin, prompting us to categorize this state as leaning Republican. In Michigan, the situation is equally concerning for Harris. Her chances have plummeted from nearly 70 to a disheartening 46. Trump has now taken the lead in Michigan, a state that has historically leaned Democratic, but is beginning to show signs of a shift. In 2020, Biden won Michigan by nearly 3 points, but the latest polling averages indicate Trump is leading by a slim margin of 1. This development is significant given the state's past electoral history. Trump won Michigan in 2016 despite being projected to lose by a substantial margin. As we analyze the data, it becomes evident that if Trump were to secure a victory in Michigan, it would deal a devastating blow to Harris's campaign and her chances of reclaiming the White House. Next, we examine Pennsylvania, where Trump's odds currently stand at 50 Cs. He has held the lead in this state since the beginning of the month, consistently outpacing Harris in most recent polls by approximately 0.3. Pennsylvania is crucial for both candidates, but considering Trump's historical underperformance expectations in this state, his current lead signals a strong likelihood of victory. The betting markets also reflect a lean toward Trump in Pennsylvania, which is increasingly looking like it could go red. As we turn our gaze to Virginia, Harris is currently favored with a lead of just under 7 points in the polls. However, Trump's chances have increased to around 13. Although no Republican has won Virginia since George W. Bush, the state has been gradually moving to the right in recent years. While Harris is expected to win, the race is anticipated to be significantly closer than it was in 2020 when Biden won by a substantial margin. The dynamics in Virginia are undoubtedly shifting, making it a state to watch closely in the weeks ahead. In North Carolina, Trump stands as the clear frontrunner with a 62 chance of winning. His polling consistently indicates a commanding presence in the state, despite potential damage from Republican gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson, who has been embroiled in several scandals. Nevertheless, Trump's lead appears secure, reinforcing North Carolina's status as a swing state that he has managed to win in both of the last 2 elections. The state is expected to lean red once again, solidifying Trump's electoral. Shifting our focus to Georgia, Trump's position has strengthened significantly. His chances of winning stand at 64, a considerable rise since Harris peaked in mid-August during the Democratic convention. Recent polling shows Trump with a slight lead of 0.7. Although there was a brief period where Harris led, Trump has regained his advantage and is now seen as the favorite in a state he did not win in the previous election. The changing dynamics in Georgia highlight the competitive nature of this election and the potential for surprises as we move closer to November. Finally, we arrive in Florida, where Democrats are inexplicably allocating resources in the hope of flipping the state blue. However, Florida remains a Republican stronghold. Trump's chances of winning are an astounding 90, with him leading by an average of 6.1 in the. Some recent surveys even showed Trump ahead by as much as 14 points, a substantial gap considering how closely contested the state was in past elections. Given these trends, it is challenging to see how Democrats can reasonably expect to secure a victory in Florida. Now that we've reviewed the current state of play, it's abundantly clear that Trump is well positioned to win every swing state on the electoral map. His overall lead stands at approximately 0.7 in battleground states, and he has the advantage in all swing states except for Wisconsin, where he is poised to take the lead short. Meanwhile, Harris is grappling with declining polling numbers and support, a trend reflected in market shifts away from her favor. Just today, she experienced a drop of 2.7 in the betting markets, while Trump gained an equivalent amount. As a result, Trump's lead has widened by an impressive 5.4 percentage points, placing his current chance of winning the 2024 election at around 58. If current trends continue, projections indicate Trump could secure as many as 332 electoral votes compared to Harris's 226. In conclusion, the political landscape is evolving rapidly as we approach the election, with Trump emerging as a formidable contender in key battleground states. His momentum is palpable, and it increasingly appears that he is on track. As we dissect the implications of these developments, it's crucial to keep in mind the unpredictable nature of politics and the potential for shifts as we move closer to Election Day. Thank you for joining me in this comprehensive analysis. If you found this information insightful, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates and in-depth discussions on the ever-changing political landscape. Your engagement is vital as we navigate these complex issues together.